Welcome to Off the Cut episode 139, Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Woo, that just means we're only, 2 weeks away from the huge Black Friday sale and Cyber Monday and all that stuff over at camtools.com, right?
That's right. We're still waiting on the details from Jonathan. We should probably hit him up with a little reminder email like, dude, we need to promote Black Friday. Tell us. Tell the people what to expect.
Well, if it's anything like last year, they're going to have a huge discount on tons of stools, or tons of stools.
Discounts on stools, too.
Yeah, I don't know if he sells stools.
Well, he uses tools to make stools, so there is a through line there.
Well, that's because Jonathan always says that if something's in his store, it's also in his shop.
Yeah.
So you can make stools if you want. But I know last year he had like saw blades and router bits that were like 50, 60, 70% off. Like he had some steep discounts on stuff.
That is a good thing to stock up on Black Friday, because that stuff is, let's be real. Spending $200 getting a new tool, that's kind of exciting. Spending 50, 60, 70 bucks to get a saw blade, you're just buying the resumption of smooth cuts. It's like, that's not always super satisfying. So buy all your blades and stuff like that on Black Friday when they're nice and cheap.
Pro tip, buy multiple saw blades. I can't even talk. That way, when one of them gets dull, you just swap out to another one. And then once you have like 4 of them that are dull, then you send them all out at once and get them sharpened.
That's right. Yeah. That would be, okay. Does Jonathan do this? And I'm just ignorant, because that would be a good service that he could offer. Like, even if he just like redirected the packages.
Almost like a drop shipper, but for inbounding.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk to him. Business idea.
Spitball. Yeah, we gotta get.
He's gonna be like, I already crunched the numbers on that. It's a stupid business idea. You're an idiot, Zach.
Like, you guys are morons. Sponsorship revoked. Well, anyway, once you're over at camtools.com, know that a portion of all their proceeds go directly to the Katz Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, which gets hands. Geez, it doesn't give anybody hands. It gives people a hand in getting tools and resources into the folks to the folks who need it most. God, I can't talk tonight.
If you're having an off day, it's okay. You got the yips.
Yeah, I got the yips. But people know, head over to camtools.com. You get all kinds of awesome stuff. Everything over there is high quality. And if you sign up for their newsletter, did you know you get 5% off your order?
I did not know that. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Well, chances are you're going to give him your email at checkout anyways.
Yeah.
Because every store has the option to enter your email. So you might as well do it beforehand, get the 5% off and win.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, if you want to save even more money, you go over to patreon.com/offthecutpodcast. You unlock the after show, tons of other perks, but you also get entered to win a $50 gift card to Cam Tools every single month.
Heck yeah.
It's a good return on investment, but
yeah, definitely. Hey. I mean, we definitely have some Patreon supporters who are in a net positive financial position.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Speaking of Patreon supporters, I want to give a huge shout out to our returning top tier patrons, Joe Welsh at Delaware Valley Workshop. Deric, you are fast.
Yeah,
getting that graphic up there. Man,
I missed the intro, but I got that one.
Hey, it is what it is. Goblin Spanker, Corey Duvall, Josh at Sawdust Builds, and Dadu's debit card did work this month. So
I also noticed, Deric, did you update this graphic?
I did.
So the Dadu's name is not flashing anymore.
I had to give him some respect.
Vacancy. It's the old vacancy, no vacancy thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. And we also have some new patrons.
I saw that. I was in the email inbox for once, and I was like, "Ooh, new patrons! That's exciting."
Damon Pattison paid for the entire year, and if I'm not mistaken, Damon is the brother of the guy from that Twilight movie, right?
Oh,
maybe.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
What's that?
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah. Right. I actually had somebody in like high school. People like, you look like that guy. I was like, really?
if you like squint
Yeah.
and like catch you at the right ankle, I can kind of see it. You got the flowy, slick back hair right now.
I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's like, so Miranda and I have this game when we're in public, or especially at like events or whatnot, that we're bored and we really don't want to be there. We try to find lookalikes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, oh, that person looks like that. But then we also rate it. So we're like, okay, that's like a good 9 out of 10 lookalike.
Okay. I like this game.
Yeah. It passes a lot of time.
I will often snap pictures of strangers that look like my friends and then send them to my friends. But I'll add little qualifiers similar to what you do. So once I took a photo of this guy and I sent it to my friend, and I was like, this looks like you if you never ate an ounce of protein in your entire life.
Oh, so
my friend's a pretty like buff guy, and he's like a skinnier, nerdier version of my friend.
Yeah. So you're I thought you were sending him a burn, like you were burning him. Be like,
no, it was like a backhanded compliment.
Oh, I got you. I didn't know if it was like, this looks like you if you were attractive and a nice person.
I might do that too. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Well, yeah. So we've got Robert Pattinson's brother, Damon Pattison. Paid for the whole year. Look at that. Diving
a lot of people have taken that pay the whole year option.
I know. You saved
pretty
like,
cool.
You said, wait, you get like a couple months for free or something?
Probably something like that.
I think you save like 10% or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
And we also have a lot of people complain about people who have a first name as their first name and last name, like Greg, Robert, or something like that. Don't have to worry about it with our next patron. It's just Carol.
I like that.
Simple.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like,
and we don't have to worry about doxing her. I'm assuming it's a her. But
the photo was a male. What appeared to be a male.
Okay, I know Carol.
Carol with a K.
It's like 90% of girls' name, but there is that 10% of instances where it's a dude.
Yeah, I think
that's fine.
Carol with a K, Karol.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm completely butchering that. Maybe it's like Corral.
Corral, yeah, it could be Corral. I used to live on Carroll Street, but it was with the C.
Huh.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Speaking of doxing.
Well, see, now I just threw myself off. I was like, wait, did we not have new patrons? Because on the notes, I put my new patrons under the what we've been working on section.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been working on some new patrons.
Yeah, it confused the hell out of myself.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Which makes me feel better about that we're getting new patrons recently. Because you know who hasn't been getting new patrons?
Green Suitors?
Green Suitors podcast, baby. No new patrons for them.
That's tough.
The worst show ever.
We've cornered the market on patrons. We've stolen all their patrons.
Yeah, we sure have. Well, I guess speaking of what we've been working on, what have you been up to? Yeah, I feel like we haven't hit that topic in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I had kind of a fun day today. I went to a local high school and I donated them a bunch of safety equipment.
I saw your Instagram story about this.
Yeah, so I was bagging it all up, and today I got to take it and drop it off. So there's this cool high school that I got connected with a while ago. I'm trying to think. I did a Instagram reel with the same high school like a year ago or something like that. I built some benches and stuff like that. But they have this really impressive shop class set up. They actually have 3 separate shop classes. One of them is for woodworking and construction. One of them is for masonry, and then the other one is for like kind of general stuff they do, like drywall and plumbing and electrical. And it's kind of rare for schools these days. So I've been just trying to like support them in any small way I can. So when this company that I was working with said, "Hey, we want to do a quote unquote pay it forward," element to the campaign, I was like, oh hell yeah, just give me a bunch of safety equipment, I'll take it over to the kids at the school.
So you're telling me I mean, I don't know a lot about this. It's really rare now for schools to have like shop class or whatever in it.
In my city, like Toronto's like 4 million people, like it's a big city.
Sure.
I know of off the top, like I don't know, I want to say like less than 10 schools that still offer shop class at the high school level.
Yeah, and we're not going down this road. I know we won't, but it's weird because you hear like a lot of like, the around like election time or whatever, like make sure to vote for this. So like stuff doesn't get cut or whatever. Maybe this is just
totally
naive, but like I didn't know it was down to such a low percentage of like extracurricular stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I always, I grew up watching TV and they talk about going to shop class or going to like auto class. But what I found when I was looking for high school when I was that age was that stuff was actually really rare in my city. So, and so my contact, this guy named Mike, he was the one who actually kind of revived a lot of the shop classes at this school. So he actually kind of like took it from a state of being like on the way out and revived it with pumping some new energy into it, which is quite nice too.
So this Mike character, did he give you any insight to like why it's disappearing? Lack of interest, lack of funding?
That's a good question. I think it's probably a little bit of lack of funding. And then also you have to have like the right teacher. You go to teachers college, you learn how to teach math and English and stuff like that, but you don't know how to hang a sheet of drywall necessarily, right? So you have to find teachers who know those skills in order to teach them. He was a mason for a long time. He was in like the masonry union before he decided to become a teacher. So he just happened to have that knowledge.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So
yeah, neither did I.
I mean, it makes sense. Like you would assume for somebody to have to teach middle school, high school kids or whatever, they would need a teaching license degree, whatever.
Yeah,
but then I would hope so. But then for them to be qualified to teach, some trades or your plumbing or whatever, you also would hopefully expect they spent some time actually doing that.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal. Like obviously I have no idea how it works behind the scenes, but I don't know if you need to be like a licensed carpenter in order to teach carpentry. But one would hope you would at least have like a little bit of experience, like you're saying.
I have some insight there. I have a friend who's a school teacher, and all you need is I don't even think you need a degree. All you have to do is pass a state test here in Texas, and you can teach. That's it. Yeah. There's just like one test that you had to pass, and that's it. Now, if you have degrees, that helps, and that certainly points them in a direction. But like, especially at like the kindergarten and like grade school level, there's just a test you have to pass for each. It's different for each for whatever level that you're going to teach, and there may be one specific to like if you're going to teach, say, high school history. I believe that's a specific test that you have to pass for teaching high school history. But it's just a test is the barrier of entry, at least here in Texas. I think it depends on the school as whether or not they want a degree. But to get a teaching license, it's just a test.
All right.
Then do you think it's one of those things where, I'm not well versed in this, but like technically in Texas, maybe you just need that the passing that test. However, only certain schools will accept that minimum criteria. But if you want to go to like, the top 5 public schools in the area or private schools, they're like, yo, we're not going to hire somebody that just has that. Like, do you think that's a real
That is different. That is different. Private schools don't require the Texas. So the test that you have to take for the state of Texas, that's to teach at a public school in Texas. Private schools are a whole different animal. That's all up to the individual schools as far as like what they want to require for their teachers. But because the school has to pass certain criteria in order to educate on at a private school level. As far as like the teacher's credentials, that's up to the individual schools. They tend to hire people that are going to help them perform at the level to meet that criteria to be a public or a private or a charter school or whatever the case may be. So they are going to hire people that have degrees, typically that studied education and things like that. But they don't have the same testing requirements, because I know somebody that couldn't pass the tests for teaching in a public school, but he ended up going and teaching at a private school, a small like Christian academy type of situation, and he was able to get a job there teaching, no problem.
Interesting.
I feel like the whole thing just flipped on its head now.
Yeah. I know some people who are private school teachers, and I always thought it was a more lucrative gig to be a private school teacher, but sometimes it's not. It really depends on the school and I guess the prestige of the school.
I think on average they get paid more, but yeah, like individually, it's because you're essentially, when you're working at a private school, it's like working at any other job where you're, tenure and all that makes a difference. And being there over time, you're getting incremental pay increases, and then jumping from company to company, you're going to see more of a pay increase than just staying at the same place.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, here's time for a segment I like to call "I was today years old when I learned." Someone explained to me tenure. I genuinely don't understand it.
Great question.
It's like, you've just been there and then they can't fire you?
Yeah, that's true. I'll throw tenure around in a sentence like I know what it means, but I'll be
okay. You don't either.
What it means.
Okay. Right on. Deric, do you know what it is?
It's as far as I understand it, it's just like you're basically guaranteed employment for life unless you violate some rule egregiously enough that they can't keep you around because it's too much of a public issue. But your requirements are low. Like you have a low their expectations are very low for you at that point. But basically, you've put in the work.
Show up on the news, you're not getting fired.
Yeah, because you've put in like a good 10, 15 years or whatever, maybe 20. I don't know. It's not 10 years, but yeah.
Yeah. What is the incentive for the school to give somebody tenure? Because it seems like, you're basically giving them an all permissions pass to slack off and stop caring.
I would imagine that's them locking in somebody who's got some prestige at some point in their career. And they're saying this person's here and they can't go anywhere else.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's like a commitment device to keep top performers. Yeah.
And then in order to keep their tenure, they probably have to go around and give certain speeches or go do certain things, fulfill specific obligations outlined in their tenure. I would imagine it's like a contract of some sort.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
I mean, I wish, I wonder if we'll get tenure as YouTubers.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick. Like, as long as you could put out an absolute piss poor video once a year, and they're like, we'll keep
the ad revenue just keeps coming somehow.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we all have tenure.
That's true. Yeah.
Ain't nobody kicking us off the platform.
Yeah.
Well,
as long as you keep posting. But
if you're on Facebook, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I know that all too well.
Oh man, if we're good to jump topics, I know you guys wanted an update on my Microsoft Start thing.
Ooh,
yes, it's on.
I'm still waiting for. I sent an email today because I was like, "Hey, is the content live? Like, what's going on?" And I still haven't heard anything. So I know this is like the most non-update in the world, but I wanted to.
So tell me more about that.
Detail the email.
Yeah.
Tell me
I wanted
exactly.
to commiserate.
Will you read the email to me?
I wanted to commiserate with you about not being on Facebook. I'm also not on Microsoft Start, even though I thought I would be at this point.
Yeah, well, I don't even have Microsoft Start unless I've got it on my work computer, which is probably turned off there anyway. But
I wonder if there is a way to access Microsoft Start from a Mac, or if it is actually strictly just on a PC.
I don't know. If you had, if you had to stake a percentage on whether or not you think it will actually turn into something monumental, what percentage are you going to give it?
What's monumental like?
Something that would be in the top 5 or 10 social media platforms.
Maybe not rivaling YouTube, but close to it.
No. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Is it going to be a household name?
Yeah, that's a good question. I doubt it. So I would put it at like
Rumble?
Maybe like a 30% chance that it'll be a household name.
Okay.
But the thing is, Microsoft has this huge install base. Like, how many Windows users are there out there, right? It's got to be billions.
So then they can. I'll take the explicit here. They can just pull a big bullshit thing and be like, oh, well, we have 25 million users.
Yes.
It's like, no, you have 7 users, but you have 25 million people that are running Windows, and it just automatically gets put on their system.
100%. But if they were
have
smart,
a little insight.
Oh, okay. Let me in.
My wife actually worked for Microsoft for a few years.
Okay.
Back in 2011, 2012 was the last couple of years she worked there. And she was saying that they've been eyeing or trying to do something with video for a while, but haven't gotten anything off the ground. So even back then, they were trying to do something with video. And this is just like their latest attempt at it. But she was like, it is Microsoft, and they are going to throw a ton of money behind it because that's what they do. So they have that. They have capital. They have money. They can take it somewhere.
That's my biggest hope. So we've talked about how part of like the early heyday of YouTube, you could kind of just put out crap content and you could it was a land grab essentially, right? Because there was nobody there. And I feel like I made that mistake with TikTok by writing off TikTok and being like, I don't, this is kind of BS platform. I don't need to waste my time on it. So now I'm cognizant of those mistakes and I'm trying to seize any opportunity I can. So I do think chances are not great that it's going to blow up into a big thing, but it's essentially zero extra work on my part.
Yeah, because you're farming off to an agency that's handling it.
Exactly.
And I'm assuming their deal is that they obtain a certain percentage of revenue or whatever off of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this would kind of go on both sides of that. To go back to what you said about missing out on TikTok, and we could apply this to Start as well. Do you feel like our audience is there on either one of those platforms, or could be?
How do you mean, like the off the cut audience?
Well, yeah, no, like a maker, woodworker, with 3D printing probably on TikTok, I would say, but like the woodworking, all that. Do you think that's there's an audience for that over there?
I think so. I mean, it's interesting. TikTok kind of has its own meta, like it has its own like culture almost. And I don't think
it's changed over time.
It definitely has, yeah. It's just a different vibe, even though it's like ostensibly the same thing as Instagram. It's short form vertical videos. I think the content that plays well on Instagram might not necessarily play on TikTok. And
this is true.
So I think there's a lot of woodworking content creators who are like, I post the same videos that I post on Instagram and they don't get the same views on TikTok.
Absolutely. It's funny. I'll have something blow up on TikTok that won't do anything on Instagram and vice versa.
Exactly,
and
right?
Same across YouTube as well. Because they each have their own, audiences. They're different audiences.
I mean, look, there's hundreds of millions, maybe billions of people on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be at least 1 million woodworkers in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my guess would be the same thing about Microsoft Start and like even Instagram to some degree. I think YouTube's kind of an anomaly in that it is very maker centric. Like there's a lot of making content on there. I think long form content kind of lends itself to that to some degree. But yeah, I think that with enough people, there's an audience for anything really.
I don't know, but my wife, like if I ever just walk by the couch or whatever, and she's on her phone or whatever, she's always watching people make stuff on her phone, but in a completely different realm. She does watches cake decorating and cookies and just satisfying things where you can watch somebody ice a cake or ice cookies or paint nails or something like that. But I think it's all you are kind of making something and creating it. I think people enjoy watching that process, I think.
Yes. Going from nothing to something.
Right.
I think it's very satisfying no matter what it is.
Does Miranda make a lot of cookies and cakes for you? Not as much as she watches.
Yeah, not as much as you want. That's a sign of not nearly enough.
Yeah, not nearly enough. No. Yeah, we need to go to couples counseling and talk about the
lack of the cookie deficit.
Yeah, the cookie deficit. The one where they experience the cookie deficit.
That's a good show title.
So here's the thing, though, is I think it would be a blessing and a curse to have a spouse that just made incredibly delicious food and like desserts and stuff like that, because you would have to eat it.
That's the thing. You can't let it rot, right? Like,
well, not only would you like you would have to eat it because, you know, you're being like, you know, polite and stuff, but you would have to eat it because it's delicious.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, imagine if it wasn't delicious, but you still have to eat it.
Yeah, it's just all for show. It's like our furniture. It just looks good on camera.
Just looks good on camera. That's true. But no, that's a real thing though. Like, we're brutally honest with each other with food. Like, we'll make something, we'll be like, all right, don't hold back. Like, tell me what you think. And usually we're on the exact same page. Like, we'll both take a bite of it and either be like, oh, this is awful, or this is really good. But I hate when somebody is like, oh yeah, it's good. And they have the same reaction for everything.
Yeah.
Like, my grandma was over last week and I made some homemade tomato soup with like bacon and, you know, croutons, stuff like that. I'm like, Grandma, you like it? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, would you tell me if you didn't? She said, no. So now I'm like sitting there the entire dinner thinking, oh my God, Grandma hates this soup. Yeah. But I'm like, this is delicious. Like, this is a great soup.
Yeah.
Then you give her a Krispy Kreme donut and she's just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Should have said no soup for you. But
well, look, I think Miranda probably has the opposite. Well, not the opposite. She probably has that problem with furniture. She's like, he keeps building all this furniture. We got to use it. We can't just throw it away.
How many chessboards do we need?
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, she wants to hold on to stuff more than I do.
Oh, really? Interesting.
When it comes to like furniture and whatnot. Yeah, I've made so many things, and then I'm like, all right, why don't we just give this to somebody? She's like, we can't give this to somebody.
Oh, that's nice.
So, but maybe it's a long con. Maybe I'll be on my deathbed, and I'm like, do you have any final things to say to me? And she bends over, whispers in my ear, and she's like, I hated all of the furniture that you made.
I hate walnut.
Walnut is so ugly. I prefer red oak.
Take secret trips to IKEA.
Oh, imagine that. So, Deric, Zach, do you guys have things like, do your partners, like, do you feel like they lie about something that they say they like, but they actually hate?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
like, and it became apparent after we had kids. Have you ever seen a mom tell her kids like how much she likes something that they did or drew or something like that?
Yeah.
I felt like I'm getting the exact level of enthusiasm on a lot of things.
That's
and it's
so
like,
funny.
Okay, now I see.
Like the things that you build, or like, hey, I just mowed the lawn, I did this outside or whatever, and she's like, great, looks awesome.
Yeah, just like little pat on the back on things. Yeah, not everything. You know, she's pretty honest about most things, but there's definitely times where I'm like, I feel like that was a kid response.
So, like, what's the most recent one you got?
Oh, I can't think of one off the top of my head now. It's not that common.
You bring something in from the garage and she's like, oh, bless your heart, I'm going to put this right here on the fridge with a magnet.
Or like, you know, like taking out the trash. It's like, I don't expect a medal or anything for it, but you know, the acknowledgement is a little much. Like, I don't need a parade for it.
I've noticed that, like, just like, oh yeah, I took out the trash, I did this and this and that, and I just get, okay.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's better than it being over the top and then being like, all right, yeah, okay.
I don't know. I get zero in that department, so I'd like a little over the top. I'm the one who's got the trash bag over the shoulder on the way to the trash can. I'm like, him.
It's so heavy. Oh my God, it's
so
freezing outside.
I'm breaking my back taking out this trash.
Oh, don't worry about it. I got the trash. It's okay.
That's when you just hit with a really passive aggressive comments like, no, it's fine. I'll do it again. It's freezing outside, but I'll take care of it. Zach, do you got anything that Sophie you feel like she lies to you about that she likes but she doesn't actually like?
No, I kind of wish I kind of wish she did more of that.
A little too honest.
Yeah. She's pretty critical of my like furniture and stuff like that. Honestly, I think she wishes we would buy more furniture than I make. I think it's just like an aesthetic difference. I think she would prefer a little bit more glass and metal and a little bit less wood in the house.
So you got to get into blacksmithing.
Yeah.
So what happened to you welding? Yeah, I feel like you haven't done welding in a long time.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't done much welding in a project. I do like little bits and pieces of it here and there, but I haven't done like a full-on welding project. I never found the welding-centric ones perform that well.
I think it's because it's not attainable by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I try feels that it's unattainable.
Yes, and I try to push against that in my video, and I think maybe in general that's kind of a bad strategy to like if the audience feels something, you almost shouldn't try to disprove it even if you feel otherwise.
Yeah.
You know
Fair feelings are valid.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
I really enjoyed the one welding video you did probably a year and a half or so ago where you kind of broke down like how to do welding in like a more simplistic way. Like I was like, it connected, it resonated with me a lot, but I still didn't go out and buy any welding stuff.
And I think that video got like maybe like 15,000 views or something.
Right.
At that point, which I was not very happy about.
But was it super welding focused? Like I don't remember. Was that basically the entire video?
It was like start to finish. Like here's how you can get started in welding.
Oh, see, I feel like you could almost rehash that exact same script, but like, let's say you're doing a 25-minute video about you building a piece of furniture or whatever, and you have like a 3 or 4 minute segment in the middle where you're like, here are my 8 tips of how a beginner can get started in welding. Basically, rehash that stuff in a video. I think people would find that very valuable, and that's
a good idea. And I could like condense it down and make it a little bit tighter. Yeah, that's a good call.
Almost like several Instagram reels inside of a YouTube video or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of think of YouTube videos now as like 20 Instagram reels like smashed together.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Actually, I had that discussion with I think it was during Workbench Con with Drew Witt. And that's how he kind of like outlines a lot of his YouTube videos as he tries to like basically come up with a bunch of Instagram reels. So he was like, maybe I'm going to do one all about breaking down plywood. Then I'm going to do one about finishing. Then I'm going to do one about 3D printing. Then I'm going to do one about pricing. Then I'm going to do one about sourcing materials. And so it kind of keeps the video fresh and gives you like natural transitions or like chapter points in a video.
Totally. And it like you keep changing the subject so you keep like re-engaging the audience.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to talk about this subject for 30 seconds and then I'm going to switch to this thing. So
but I think it's kind of hard, but I think that's where like the whole outlining of a video kind of goes is that you don't want to make the video too chronological, or you can make it chronological in the fact that the project is being built in chronological order, but you're not just going, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this.
Yeah, I think it was actually Drew Witt that told me to read that book, Hook Point, when he came on the show a long time ago.
Yeah.
That I ended up reading. And I kind of try and think about like the start of each subsection having like some sort of hook to it. So instead of saying, and then I like wired up the battery, you say, and then I almost burned down my house. And then blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I almost burned down my house. But before we do that, I got to tell you what led up to that. So like we started connecting this, we did this, and actually went out and got this battery because this one was known, blah, 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 blah. And actually, if you stab this battery, look what happens. But anyway, so I was wiring it up and I did this and this. And then if I would have crossed this, what has caused the fire? You can not only make it more engaging and more intriguing, but you can also pull or extend that.
Yes.
Video, but not not extend it just for the sake of extending it. You can extract more entertainment and information out of what would have otherwise been a very condensed, consolidated segment of the video.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I do like when I outline a video, I'll try and think like, okay, so I want to build a table. When I'm building the legs, I'm going to talk about this.
Sure.
And then I can actually sit before I just have everything on paper. I can think like, what's something kind of like outrageous I can say to start the legs section, and then like what's a couple tips I can offer. And
right.
So this is why I'm a big proponent of like outlining things beforehand, because it kind of lets you see those things, and then you can maybe like move them around. To your point about like things don't necessarily have to be chronological, especially with the woodworking project, right?
Yeah, and you can especially say something like, "Oh, and while this, if we're talking a table again, while the tabletop is drying, we're going to move over here." But in reality, you may not have actually done it in that order, but it's a way that you can dice up the video.
Yes, I will. This is, inside baseball for anybody who watches my videos. When I say, and while I wait for this to happen, I'm going to go do this other thing, almost never the way it happens.
No, you're just trying to find a way to jazz up the video and make it at least somewhat more interesting, right?
Exactly.
Huh. So speaking of projects, or have you been? I know you said that you did all the stuff where you go into the high school and dropping a bunch of stuff off and whatnot.
Yeah.
Have you been working on anything specific?
Anything specifically? I'm finishing up 2 videos right now. The one I talked about before was the modern iPod video. Yeah. So that should be coming out soon. Hopefully, I filmed the sponsor integration for that. I'm sending it off today for approval. I'm doing a Bamboo Lab video, which is going to be a modern version of the PSP, which is the PlayStation Portable.
Yeah.
So that should be coming out. It'll be interesting to see which of these videos comes out first.
Are they both shooting for before? Are they both shooting for November?
Yes, they're both shooting for the pre-Black Friday kind of rush things. So honestly, I've been all hands on deck, editing, shooting like the integrations and stuff like that. So I am dying to finish both of those videos and then get back to actually building some stuff.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel it's
What about you?
All admin stuff, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of in the same spot. I mean, I'm working on my dust collection thing. So I've been 3D printing my whole dust collection system. Dude, so far, so good. It's going well.
Printing the ducks and everything too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa, hold up. The ducks? Really?
Yeah, dude, it is way cheaper to 3D print 6-inch pipe than it is to go buy 6-inch PVC.
Oh, and you can build in anchor points and everything for it too as you go.
Uh-huh. And I modeled it all in. Did I not tell you guys about this?
No,
you were talking about it a little bit last week.
So
maybe I tuned it out, but I'm very interested.
You were talking about the screw-in part of it.
Yeah.
I actually see behind you. Is that a Y connector in your 3D printer?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's cool.
It's one over my. Sorry, it's over this shoulder. It's a 6-inch to 4-inch Y connector that I made.
Cool.
But so that cost me $4 to print.
But the straight runs, you're buying that, right? You're not 3D printing, just
So I guess I should tell you where this first originated from.
Okay.
My dust collector is that Harvey gyro, whatever the hell thing it is.
Yeah, it looks like two
I think it's Euro
on the wall.
Euro. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Harvey Euro. And it's the short one that you can put a workbench over top of it. It's basically looks kind of like a workbench. It's thrown in the corner. But the inlet port on it is a 6-inch inlet port, which I have no 6-inch.
It's hard to find 6-inch stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's also offset from the wall. So if you ran a straight piece of pipe from it, it would stick fairly far out from the wall. So I wanted to basically have it S curve to the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why don't I just 3D print those pieces?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, Well, finding that perfect like friction fit where they slide into each other and then don't come undone is a real pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I model it in Fusion, model it up in Fusion and like put like threaded connections on it?
Okay.
So they just twist together and like once something's threaded, like it ain't coming out, right?
So how do you do the male side? So you go to a store, you buy like, let's say, 5 foot length of 6-inch pipe, the straight section.
Sure.
How do you attach the threads to that you then attach to your 3D printed couplings?
So good question. I started with basically making that S curve to the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, good. Okay, what am I going to do now? Then I was like, I went to Home Depot or whatever the hell it was and looked for 6-inch, just like cheap PVC tubing.
Okay.
Dude, it's not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, okay, well, I'm not running like it all the way up my ceiling, across the garage, everything like that. I'm basically just running it maybe 5 feet from my dust collector, take a 90 and go like underneath my table saw. So my table saw is kind of set up almost where yours is, kind of like against the wall, where you probably would only need 5 to 8 feet worth of piping to get from your dust collector to your table saw, right?
Yeah.
So I then was like, why don't I just 3D print a couple straight sections and then do another slow 90-degree turn under the table saw? So I only have a couple, like maybe a few feet worth of straight section. And I can print off a 6-inch piece, 6-inch diameter piece that's just about 10 inches, which is like 250 millimeters, whatever the max height is. And it's like $6 to print it.
Oh, okay. So it's probably actually even the straight sections are cheaper to just print it.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
I
There
know.
must be a nice markup on all that ABS pipe.
I know. Now, is it as durable and impact resistant? No, but I'm also not going to be taking a hammer to this thing. Like,
are you making it in PET G or PLA?
PET G.
Yeah, that's probably smart. PET G is pretty tough, man. It's flexible, right? So you can probably hit it with a hammer, and it's not going to shatter. It's just going to spring back.
Yeah, because PLA will shatter, won't it?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about this is like, okay, I don't have to invest thousands of dollars in metal ductwork and stuff like that if you're going with like NordFab, because I'm setting this thing up knowing that this isn't going to be the final solution. This kind of gives me like set it all up and go, I actually would like it like this.
Yeah.
But throughout this whole process, like I've now become even more proficient using Fusion because like creating those Y connectors, I'm like,
that's tough. I was
how
looking
the
at
hell
that.
do I do this?
Yeah. I guess, with you have just a bunch of lofts essentially, right? But how do you split the loft?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want me to briefly summarize it, and everybody at home has never used Fusion, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. So you make just a cylinder, right? Simple circle, then you extrude it so it now is a cylinder. Then you use plane at angle, which basically instead of an XYZ plane, you now make a new plane and you do it at like a 30 or 40 degree. Then you draw another circle on that plane. You then extrude that out and use the when you extrude it, you press join. So now you have this like Y shape.
Oh, you did that simple, huh?
It's that simple, yeah.
Wow.
Then once you have that, you then go out and use the shell command to hollow out the inside of that. So then it becomes like a pipe, right?
Yeah.
And then you just select the ends and you do a thread.
Wow.
So
cool.
I was very nervous to know how threads would work. They have built-in tolerances in them. So if you select like a quarter 20 thread on one and then a quarter 20 thread on another piece, don't do anything, just print it. They fit perfect.
Okay. Yeah, for people who don't know, Fusion, to add threads to something is literally as easy as just like clicking a circular or like a cylindrical object and saying, I want threads on the outside of this. And then you say like what the thread pitch is, what the spacing is, and it does it for you automatically.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It's super nice. So yeah, I did that. And now I'm able to make all sorts of custom, like dust collection fittings. Cool. And I also saw, I'm going to be honest with you, I saw woodpeckers had this blast gate idea.
Tell me you're going to 3D print a blast gate.
Nobody's going to hate you from stealing from woodpeckers.
No.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what woodpeckers is, but it's pretty damn similar. It's the idea of, instead of like one of those blast gates that you push in and pull out that always gets jammed, or so I've heard, I've never used them, always gets jammed with sawdust. This is actually like a rotating thing. So it like opens up like a
baffle.
Interesting.
It's kind of, it's very similar to the woodpeckers one, but also mixed with like a ball valve that you would see on like gas line. It's kind of like a hybrid of those two. And
very cool.
I modeled up in Fusion. I've not printed it yet. That's actually what I'm going to print tonight. And hopefully it works.
Okay. I'm curious. Let me know next episode how that goes.
Yeah.
So are you going to print it as a single piece, or is it multiple pieces that you're going to assemble?
Unfortunately, it's multiple pieces that you have to assemble.
Okay. I was trying to think. I was like,
on the ball.
Yeah.
Put the plans up for sale on your site.
Maybe. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
See,
it's worth it.
With the whole Stelling 3D printing things.
Yeah. Somebody could knock it off pretty easily.
One, somebody could knock it off. Two, how do I know that this idea that I came up with in a vacuum isn't a blatant ripoff of someone that I truly haven't seen?
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. I guess you have to think about like patents and stuff like that. But I mean,
worst case, you get told to take it down.
I think honestly, like every company's first move is going to be a cease and desist on you. They're just going to say, hey, we have the patent on this. Stop selling it.
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of like when we talked to Jonathan, he was like, as long as you can say something is like a couple percentage points marketably different, it's like you can't even enforce it.
Right. So that's the thing. Like if I were you, I would, you've clearly designed this thing from the ground up, even if it was semi-inspired. Yeah, even if it was inspired by this woodpecker thing, it sounds like it's significantly different because you're talking about a ball valve instead of just a flap.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I would, if I were in your shoes, I would probably sell something like that and just know, I mean, like worst case scenario, somebody approaches you and says, hey, take it down. And then you have to think, is it worth trying to fight this or not? It's not. Right. They're not going to sue you out of existence.
I can't imagine they're going to come after you if you're only selling like a handful of them at a time.
That's the thing too, right? Like you're not doing this on an industrial scale. You're probably going to end up selling, you might make a few $1,000 a year from it or something like that.
Yeah. But see, now I'm like, do I try to get into contact with Jonathan and like, let's get him to print these, or do I just sell the file and move on with my life?
That's
and move on.
That's a trickier question. I mean, I would have a conversation with Jonathan if it works well, because he's kind of the expert in that field. If he thinks he can move 100,000 of them, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
he does have the print farm now.
Yeah,
but it's just getting in the whole like 3D printing a lot more stuff, and I'm seeing the usefulness of it. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, once that dust collection thing gets all situated, then I'll actually be able to like turn my tools on and, have dust collection. And then I'm really diving into the whole miter saw station design right now. I actually think I found a lead on pre-finished plywood that isn't $275 a sheet.
What is that, 180?
No. I think I found a place. I was, doing a lot of internet researching and found people that were posting on Reddit and like a Columbus, Ohio Reddit that like, oh, there's this, I wrote it down. I remember the name of it. There's a place that will sell pre-finished like import ply. So it's not like the Baltic birch, right? It's like an import knockoff Baltic birch for like $75 a 4x8 sheet.
Whoa, damn.
So Deric, you're nodding your head. You familiar with this stuff?
This weekend actually, I believe Jonathan during one of his talks mentioned something about Baltic birch being expensive. Go with something that like a lesser known, but like it's still birch. It's just not Baltic birch. It's still plywood. It's like, I forgot what he called it, but it's along the same lines of, there are plywoods out there that are very similar within like 90% of the exact same, what you're working with.
Yeah.
That you can get that are half the price. And it's just about going out there and finding them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to hear from you guys. I have very, very, very low possibility that I'm going to spend the time to paint these cabinets. Mm-hmm. Do you think I just spend a little bit extra money, get the pre-finished ply? That way it's going to be way more durable than any finish I'm going to put on, and it saves me a boatload of time.
Just shop furniture?
Yeah. Me
personally, I don't bother with shop furniture finishing it out any kind of way. I just leave the plywood raw, but I think that's my point, is it's a personal preference. True. Do you want that nice clean look, or do you care? Will it bother you?
Well, it sounds like this pre-finished ply isn't even that expensive. So
yeah, that's true.
If it's like $75 a sheet and I need whole, I don't know, what do you usually get? 1 or 2 cabinets out of a full sheet of plywood. So say I need 12 sheets, call it $1,000. I don't think that's too bad for a massive bank of cabinets.
Nope, no sir.
Yeah. What would you do, Zach? Would you finish? Would you get pre-finished? Would you paint it? Would you just leave them raw? What would you do?
Almost all of my shop cabinets are Baltic birch, or some of the drawer guts and stuff like that are pine ply, like sanded pine ply.
Sure.
But the most of it's just Baltic birch with a quick coat of like poly on top of it.
Yeah.
And no, but issue. not edge banded or anything like that. It's pretty raw.
Quick spray.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, do I leave it edge banded, or do I edge band it? Do I not? What I really wish I could get, and I've never been able to find it, is like laminate coated plywood. So it's like, plywood on the core, but then it has like the black melamine on the outside. Yeah, that would be sweet for cabinets in a wood shop, because it's going to be pretty durable too.
Somebody must sell something like that. Would that be like a veneer product? Like,
I don't know.
That's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be slick though, to have that. And then, especially if it was all black, I think that would look good. But it would probably get dusty as hell too.
If you're willing to put in the work, you could do a nice, thick layer of primer on the bottom of your or on the top of your plywood, and then go with like a black gloss paint and get the same look.
Yeah, but
interesting.
Do you know how long that would take to paint? Like, let's just call it 12 cabinets.
Oh, that would suck.
But the inside could be the pre-finished, and then the outside would just be the black. So when you see them, and then when you open them, it's like clean on the inside too. So you got like the contrast. So
what about if I did pre-finished ply and then got like black melamine as the edge banding?
There you go, yeah.
Because they make melamine edge banding, don't they?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, they do.
I mean, you can get like black. the black, melamine that you lay down for the tops too, and use that on the outside.
Yeah. Like the Formica stuff.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, the contact cement's a nightmare though.
Nah,
that would be.
But they don't have it with the heat activated.
That's what I was wondering, if they have heat activated.
Yeah,
I bet they do. Because I think that would be a nice contrast too, with the wood kind of break up just the brown tones.
Yeah, definitely.
I might go about that. Huh.
I would be a little worried about dust, but
Rockler actually has it.
Oh, sick.
How much is it?
Pre-glued black melamine edge banding, 13/16, 50 feet long, $17.99.
Done. I'll buy it.
The other sheets of it too, I wonder.
So, as far as the top surface, I was watching Jason Hibbs' latest like outfeed table video thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he partnered with Formica, and Formica has a new product. Zach, I don't know if you knew about this. It is a basically solid surface like phenolic. So it's a 4x8 foot sheet, and you don't have to laminate it. It's basically like solid phenolic. He said it was heavy as all hell, but it's incredibly slick and durable, just as if you would coat something in Formica. And it was like $120 for a sheet.
Whoa.
I was like, done.
Do you know what it's called?
Hold on. If it's on Formica,
I'm on their website right now. Okay. I'm trying to.
It's called Formica. Is it Compact? Let me see. I was just looking at it this weekend. Sorry, structural.
It's so funny. Formica's like almost like Kleenex to me. I didn't really truly recognize that it was a brand until just this moment, like an actual company. I thought it was just like referred to a category of products.
Yeah. Wait, I was wrong. I misspoke. It's a 5 foot by 12 foot sheet.
Okay.
$138.
Okay. Pretty good.
Wait, this?
What's it called, though? I gotta look this bad boy up.
It's called Formica Compact.
Oh, okay.
Compact. Oh, I was looking at something different.
Wait, hold on. Maybe this isn't the right thing. I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, they have like wood colors and stuff too.
Yeah.
I think pattern.
2-sided decorative laminate panel with black core.
Cool.
That's nuts.
Well, they have like marble and stuff too. They got some really
At least I'm fairly sure that's what this stuff is. I'm gonna go on YouTube and hold on, real check. I'm gonna go to Bourbon Moth. But anyway, if that is actually the price of this stuff, like, dude, why would you ever bother laminating your workbench? Just
grab sheets of that.
Right. Like, that's insane. Because it would be incredibly flat, incredibly hard, and you wouldn't have to go through the whole process of what I was going to say, of laminating stuff with all the contact cement and trimming it and everything like that. Because even a sheet of like a 4x8 sheet of Formica laminate is $70.
I know, yeah.
Right, and then you slap that on top of a sheet of plywood, like you're coming out on top, getting this product that they already, sell. I'm sure they probably have like minimums that you have to order from them.
Sure. I wonder. Yeah. I'm looking at them like, oh, I wonder, because you can't just at least on the Canadian website, you can't just order directly from them. It seems like.
You gotta find a distributor.
Yeah.
See, I can hit the buy now thing.
Oh, see, I don't have that option on the Canadian.
Oh, did you look at is there a residential version of it? I was on commercial.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, maybe I was wrong, because when I go to buy now, it says laminate sheets and its weight is 15 pounds. Yeah, that can't be right. I don't know. I'll have to message Jason and see if he can give me more info on it.
I was looking at the product specs on their page, and some of the sheets are 1/4 inch thick, but then others are a full inch thick.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is, if I can find that like surface stuff, like that would be an incredible workbench top.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
And then you don't have to worry about denting it and stuff. Because I want to do something like where I have the miter saw station with like a built-in little T-track, so you can put like stop blocks and stuff like that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to do wood, because the wood just gets hacked up, and I have enough wood. And I really I love the laminate that I have on my workbenches now. You spill stuff on it, comes right up.
It really is the best surface for a workbench.
Unless somebody drills into their workbench all the time.
True. Those monsters. I have to redo this desk behind me, like my new workbench in my office. Maybe I'll see if I can find some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because this would be good. Like, yeah.
So it is called Formica Compact. And
Okay.
Josh said he was able to add Formica compact to his cart, but you have to buy a minimum of 2. That's not a. I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah.
2 minimum. You're gonna need more than that.
Yeah, it's Formica compact is what it is. Like it's
Okay.
those sheets. But then when I go to click, when I go to click to buy it, it takes me to laminate sheets, which I think it's like on accidentally redirecting you somewhere.
Gotcha.
So
I think you probably.
So what's the what?
What's the core made out of on these?
I have no idea.
Like black plastic, I think.
Yeah, it says polyurethane.
Yeah.
UHMW polyurethane.
I found a retailer by me.
Apparently, Home Depot sells it, at least in Canada.
Granger sells it.
All right. Did you find a price on it?
No.
$61.57 for a 1-inch thick, 2-inch wide, 48-inch long. That can't be right.
Maybe it's kind of like a obscure.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Formica laminate. Is this thick? No, this is just sheets.
Those bars. It's sheets.
Huh.
Okay. Here we
So
go.
yeah, I don't know.
1-inch.
I guess I got to get more information on this.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get a little research project for us for.
There we go. I got
episode.
Again, that can't be right. This one says a 12-inch wide, 12-inch long sheet is $57. 1-inch thick. That can't be right.
I found this thing from Global Industrial that's 60 inches by 36 inches by 1 inch thick, solid phenolic resin top is $579. Like that's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
This is going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
I think you're gonna have to call a distributor and quiz them a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to find it on their website. I'm going to add that to my list.
Oh yeah, now I got a 4x8 sheet for $1,467.
Interesting.
Did you find the Formica compact? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Formica compact, 1-inch thick, 4,400 pound tensile strength.
How much is a sheet of it? Did it tell you how much a sheet of it weighs? Like 150 pounds?
It will. If I find it in the specs, it's like way down in here. Where's the weight? I don't know. I'm not finding the weight.
But it's got to be expensive because it doesn't make any sense to me that like a sheet of Formica, like laminate, that's what, like it may be a 16th of an inch thick is like $75.
Exactly.
And if you're getting an inch thick, I would imagine at least $300 to $500 a sheet.
Yeah. That's what I would expect, but I mean, yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
I mean, anytime I hear sheet goods, I think it's going to be annoyingly expensive.
Formica compact sample box.
Oh,
I don't know. But anyway, so I'm very interested in finding some sort of surface. Wait, what'd you find?
Shipping weight 165 pounds.
okay.
For a 4x8 sheet?
Yeah, 1-inch thick.
And how much were they charging?
$1,467.02.
Free shipping though?
It does not specify. It better.
Okay. Well, if that's the cost, I think I'm probably just going to be tossing some laminate on top of some plywood.
Yeah.
This item requires special shipping and additional charges may apply.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll ask Jason and see if he's got any insight on it. And, he'll probably just laugh when he tells me the price of it.
Although I can pick it up locally.
Oh, great. You can pick
Get
it
them
up
to sponsor a
locally.
video, and then you're all good to go.
There we go.
Yeah, I thought about it. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I could ask him, see if he has a contact or something. But yeah. Well, we've actually got there. You pulled a question from Discord, and I've got a good series of questions that came in directly through Patreon. You guys want to head over to the after show and answer those?
No.
Okay.
Keep it rolling.
All right. Well,
No,
no after show this week per Zach. No, but we're going to head over to the after show. That's at patreon.com/offthecutpodcast. And we'll hit you up over there. If not, we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah. See you, everybody.
See you, brothers. Oh, the dogs.
Dogs.